Mm-hmm.
So technology has revolutionized the way that we communicate. A lot of things that it has done, it simplifies our lives in many, many ways, especially communication. With the recent invention of computers, we've been able to keep in contact with people from long distances. It's made it actually more economical because we don't have to pay for long distance calls. Other ways that it has simplified things, or things that it has done for us, is we can do all sorts of things with it. There's interactive materials, like there's games, for instance. There's some physical activities that we can get out of it too, like exercise programs, things like that. You name it, you can do a lot of different things. The thing that it has in common with television, for instance, which is not a very interactive medium, is that you can insert a video game console, which is a kind of computer itself, and then start playing, or put an exercise video and start learning from that too. So we've created lots of different ways to get the most out of this new invention. But there's one other advantage that we've been neglecting, and that's for education. Now, what I'm going to talk about is actually online classes. The online classes is a format that hasn't been really fully embraced by a lot of people. I surveyed about 100 students on campus and asked them if they took an online class, and if not, why did they take it? And a lot of them actually avoided it. So that shows that there's a little bit of a fear and unwillingness to participate in this new way for education, and it has a lot of potentials. So I actually found out that some of the fears are actually rational, but some of them actually are not so much. I came here originally intending to convince you that it's not as bad, but honestly, it really depends. So before I get into the details of the misconceptions and what are some of the truths about what fears we have, I want to talk about one of the benefits, some of the benefits that we get out of online classes. According to a study done by the College Student Journal, they found that it actually freed a lot of people's time. The schedule, it was a lot more convenient. That was the number one thing, convenience. A lot of our schedules, a lot of us work, and it's very, very tough for us to find a good working schedule with our school schedule. So we have to work around our school because we really don't have a choice for that. With online classes, you can actually work your school around it. So that's one of the big advantages. The other advantage that they found is that it has to do with personality types and learning types. Some people learn better when they're just reading, and they don't have to go to school. They don't have to sit down and listen to a lecture when they can't pay attention. They're not auditory learners. When you're just learning from reading the text, online classes may be more beneficial to you because a lot of them have to do with that. Have to do with reading. It's not all of them do, but most, like history class, for instance. I took a history class myself online, and a lot of it was just read the text. Here's the list of topics that you need to know, and get ready for the test. So it depends on the personality. Now, I also want to talk about hybrid classes. Some people need social interaction. They need to sit down and listen to the lecture. Some people are auditory learners. So you need to take that into consideration. If you also need time around your schedule, if you need to free up some space, a hybrid class would be a good idea. You can still have the flexibility and have the benefits of going to class, talking to people face to face, and sitting down through the lecture and absorbing that information like that. Now, with the budget cuts that have been going on in school, it's also very economical. I know that I know how expensive it's getting, and the fact that there are less classes, that means less options for us. We can't really fix our schedule the way we want it to. I work at BJ's, and I have this one job where it can only take place one time in a week, and most of the time would be a Wednesday. But as you guys know, I'm here Mondays and Wednesdays with you guys. So they had to schedule this around my schedule. Even though one of the things that I do is inventory. I take inventory, me and one other person. And so what happened is that now that person's by himself. He has to show up on Wednesday anyway. We have a multitude of jobs that we do at one time. Inventory is just one aspect. But now we have to divide that because of that. And this brings me to my next point. Your perception of online classes is going to determine your experience. If you guys think that it's going to be hard and that it's going to be very difficult disciplining yourself or things like that, some of those may be rational fears. Discipline and what are the things that they call procrastination. Those are all real fears, but they are not specific to online classes. They are true for every kind of class. It's just people start to get those fears. They culminate with something that's new and they haven't experienced yet. But I want to talk about procrastination for a second, because some people actually work well with procrastination. They seem to get more motivated at the last minute, or they just feel like they have too much things to do, and so they push themselves until they are forced to have to do all that schoolwork. Right? Some people feel like because of that, because they don't have that kind of discipline, that they're going to fare even less in online classes. And it may be just the opposite. In fact, a lot of the assignments are due by midnight in a lot of the classes. A lot of the students that I surveyed stated that it was convenient for homework assignments. For those that thought optimistically, I found through the studies that people who found it, who were pessimistic, actually had, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. They actually had a bad experience. And now I think only 10% of people who had a good outlook on the online classes, I think actually changed their minds. Optimistic people actually had a much better experience. So it depends on how you look at it. So procrastination can even work for online classes. Everything has to do with a deadline is a deadline. Whether it's a traditional class, which is what we're in right now, or an online class. Everything is due at a certain time. So there actually is no difference in that department. The biggest difference has to do with what kind of personality you have. A study done by the Oxford University and Houston University found that people who are introverted tend to like online classes better than extroverted people. They're not the only kind of people that prefer online classes, but that's just an example of the kind of personality. Some people feel more comfortable just being by themselves and working privately. And another factor, big factor, is just convenience. So there's a lot of different things to consider. And here's one more misconception, that you don't have great communication with people, and that's absolutely false. Because we all go online to socialize. We were just talking about entertainment, Facebook, and all that kind of thing. And we communicate, we send each other messages. It's actually the same. When you go on the Blackboard, or what I went to was Webster. I think that's where I did my online courses, and that's where you can send messages instantaneously to every student in the class. So it's actually a little more advantageous to you to communicate with students, because students have to log in eventually anyway. They have to. So you actually get pretty timely responses. I mean, in the class of, let's say, 30 students, there's 30 chances for you to get an immediate response. So I'm not here to convince any of you to take an online class. I'm here to try and better inform you, to dispel any kind of fears and misconceptions so that you may consider it and not be as afraid to take a class if you have to for next semester, to free your schedule or for any other